Our first guest tonight is the most powerful movie star in the world whose Ray-Bans and body oil saved the movie business. Top Gun Maverick is nominated for 6 Oscars, including Best Picture. Please welcome the one, the only Tom Cruise. You're getting that a lot lately, I guess, huh? You were shooting Mission Impossible today, right?
Yeah, well, we're shooting it every day.
Shooting it every day. Did you risk your life today?
Well, I did get in a car in this weather. I think we all did.
Okay, all right, that's pretty close.
That's close.
Is it a more exciting day when you're doing something crazy?
Every day's pretty exciting.
Every day's pretty exciting.
Every day's, because every day's a little crazy sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially a mission movie. And
you had a really, I thought, very interesting. I wonder if it surprised you, too. You went to this Oscar lunch, right? Mm-hmm. All the nominees are there. You're there. And weirdly, it became this like, well, let me show some of the pictures here, because these photographs, everyone was just so excited to see you. You see Ke Quan here. You see Michelle. Look at Michelle.
Michelle, yeah, she's beautiful.
This is
lovely.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Jamie Lee.
Guillermo del Toro, absolutely losing his mind. I mean, this is it true that you saved the movie business? Steven Spielberg said you did.
You know, first of all, it was wonderful because I haven't, it's been COVID, so I haven't been able to see my friends for many, many years, and I've been shooting, so.
But they weren't that excited to see their other friends. They were excited to see you. Like, I feel like the only people that get that reaction is like Santa and maybe like Oprah and Beyonce and Tom Cruise. I mean, that's it. What you did, and of course you wanted to make a big movie that was popular. That's always the goal, I would assume. But what you also did was, when you were getting pressure, and I assume you got pressure from whomever, the movie studio, investors, whoever it was, to put the movie out on streaming, you said no, and you held it for 2 years. And you were, I guess, $1.5 billion right, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, people have been asking for the movie for 34 years.
Yeah.
So I figured a couple more years. It's gonna be all right. They'll be all right.
If it had gone on for 10 years, would you have held out for 10 years?
I would have held out for 10 years.
You would have really?
No, look, the film is made for the screen.
Yes, and, absolutely.
I have friends all through, my actors' friends in studios and theatrical, and I made it for theatrical. That's what I did, and we all did. We all made it for theatrical. It wasn't just me. I mean, the whole crew. And
you held fast. Now, what are you going to do to save us from these spy balloons we've been seeing? Is there a plan? Those aren't yours, are they?
No, I haven't figured that out.
Okay. Would you tell us if there were?
No, I couldn't tell you.
You would not?
No, I couldn't say that.
This idea of this movie being made for the theater, did you go see it with like a paying audience in the theater?
I love that. Look, I grew up, I always wanted to travel the world, so when I started making movies, I was able to go watch movies in other countries, so I always go watch films with other audiences and watch their movies with them. So I do. When I make a film, I want to go see it with an audience.
That's fun. That's like the reward for it.
When they really enjoy it, that's what I want. I make my movies for audiences, for you all, so it's a pleasure to see it. I just want to entertain you, Mike.
So when you go to see these movies, do people spot you in the theater? Do you disguise yourself? How are you able to go see a movie that you're in?
Yeah, sometimes they spot me, yeah. When I'm sitting next to them, and they'll kind of look over and I'll do some photos and sign some autographs a little bit.
You always do. You're really very patient. It's almost annoying how patient you are with everybody.
I've been doing it a long time.
Yeah, most people are not that patient. Most people wouldn't let Yaya kiss them on the head. That's for sure.
That was a surprise, but that was all right.
Do you go to see other movies in the theaters?
I do. I go opening weekend, and I love seeing movies that are made for the screen on the big screen. So.
Will you go see Cocaine Bear in the...
And I might, in the big screen. I might do that, yeah. Trailer looks very funny.
When you, and again, I mentioned this because I've really seen you do some things that I couldn't believe. I mean, I've seen you stop like with a group of 500 people out back of our theater, and you stop and take pictures with every one of them. Yeah. And to be honest, I use you as a distraction to get to my car.
So I'm trying to help you out with that.
Appreciate that. But are there times where you just want to like get to where you're gonna go? And can you even like, could you get on public transportation or go to a museum?
Look, I'm ready for whatever's gonna happen. So I don't change my life, but look, I like talking to people, you know, and as I said, I make my movies for them. And yeah, I do go on transportation. My security loves that when I do that.
Yeah,
the Tube in England.
Oh,
I do that. Like sometimes I'll put on my hat and my earphones and I'll just go in and get on the Tube just if I want to get to the studio.
Does that work?
Quickly.
Do people stop
Sometimes.
It does.
Sometimes it works. Sometimes, like, you know, people are, during rush hour, like I go in and I'll be there. And I remember one time I was there and there's like 14-year-old kid. This girl was there and everyone was looking at their phones and I just saw her. I looked over and kind of my head's down. I got my baseball cap and she's just staring at me like this. And I looked at her and she looked at me and she just looked around the subway like this. And then looked back to me like, and I went, At the look she gave me, she just looked around and she was like, took her iPhone and went click and was like, all right. I'll never forget her.
A couple months ago, you released some video, I think on YouTube, of like the making of one of these big stunts you're doing for this new Mission Impossible movie. And I think it's probably important that people know that you're really doing these stunts because nowadays almost anything is possible. And for those who have not seen this, let's take a look.
Today is day one of principal photography, and we are starting in classic mission form with the biggest stunt in the film.
What we're doing here is I'm just doing jumps just to warm up the body. Try not to smile.
See the parachute turn.
Come on.
You see the parachute turn right into the side of that bowl. That was dangerous.
That was dangerous.
That was dangerous.
How many times did you shoot that?
I jumped off that 8 times. 8 times. I know.
8 times.
It was wild. It was wild.
Wow.
It was wild.
That is just absolute. I mean, that's so dangerous, right?
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
So now you brought something. This is another part of this stunt.
I just try to do everything I can, use every tool that I have to entertain the audience. So even as a little kid, like I used to steal lumber from a junkyard or, you know, and then I'd ride down the hill as fast as I could and hit the ramp and go over garbage cans, you know, to try to do that when I was a little kid. Yeah. Didn't work. Didn't work. I went down the hill and the bike, you know, was the pedal thing. It didn't have the reverse, so I was going really fast. And then I went through it and I split the wood in half and I went smashing through the garbage cans. And then spent the next few days in the hospital.
And you thought, yeah, I want to do this for a living.
This is what I want to do for a living.
So will you talk us through this?
Sure.
What we're going to see here?
3, 2, 1, action!
Okay, that was the first time I did it. That ramp was iced a little before. There we go. When I let go, you have to make sure that I'm not attached to the bike in any way. Even my shoelaces are taped. And you let go and you start flying. And I have about 6 seconds to open that parachute before I hit the ground.
And you're counting to 6?
No. Yeah, maybe it's 8.
Oh, my God.
I know, it's wild.
And those motorcycles are decimated, right?
Yeah, they're gone.
They don't make it?
They're gone. They don't make it. They don't survive. Better them than me.
Does your stunt double think you're his stunt double?
I don't have a stunt double. I don't have a stunt double.
Somebody please get this man a stunt double, for God's sake. Tom Cruise is here. We'll be right back.
The only reason I'm here is you. If I send him on this mission, he might never come home. And if I don't send him, he'll never forgive me. Either way, I could lose him forever.
say that was pretty emotional. I've known Val for decades, and for him to come back and play that character, he's such a powerful actor that he instantly became that character again. I mean, that is.
Yeah. It's.
You just look. You're looking at Iceman.
Did you cry when you guys shot that, or was it just me?
I was crying. I was crying. I got emotional. He's such a brilliant actor. I love his work. And
that really was quite a moment in the movie. It's not all stunts, you know. There's some some heart going on there.
There's some tears in
too.
there.
Yeah. And we were talking about during the commercial break. I thought it was very interesting. We were talking about just like the risks that you take, and I thought it was very funny what you were saying about what you are and aren't allowed to do.
Yeah, I can jump off a cliff, but don't go snowboarding.
You're not allowed to go snowboarding.
You know, or like they'd prefer I didn't get on a skateboard.
Like all the rules that like a pitcher on the Dodgers would have to abide by, you also have to abide by.
And look both ways before I cross the street. That's dangerous.
Do you think you will still be doing that sort of thing when you're like
100?
80 or 100? What? I was okay, 100.
Yeah, I'm planning on it.
You are planning.
I've been doing it my whole life as a kid. I was writing, always working on stories and writing skits, even when I was a little kid. I was that kid that, you know, I'd crawl out of the attic and I'd be on the roof, and my neighbors would see me on the roof, and I was about 4 years old because I like looking at the sky and the clouds and the stars and stuff. And I'd call my mother, and she'd be like, "Your son is on the roof." And to me, it was just normal, but she...
To her, was it upsetting?
Yeah, I gotta say, she's such a beautiful soul that she just basically just asked me to think about what I wanted to do with my life. You know, she never stopped me from doing anything. It was very encouraging.
Wow.
But she never stopped me. But later on, like when she saw some of the stuff, she was Southern, so it'd be like, I showed her when I was on the A400, the side of the airplane in Rogue Nation, and she was like, "Honey, is that you on the side of that airplane?" I said, "Yes, ma'am, it is." She goes, "Oh, Lordy, I'm so glad you didn't tell me about that one. You know, I just don't need to know."
You do have to keep some things from her, I would guess.
I did. It was better afterwards.
Would you? Okay, I have some would you questions. These are not would you rather questions. These are would you, and you can just say yes, no, or whatever. Would you parasail over an erupting volcano?
You know, I've been to an erupting volcano.
Of course you have.
And parasailing over would be quite beautiful.
You would?
Yes, I would.
Would you fly a jetpack through a tornado?
Well, what kind of tornado and where?
One of the bad ones.
Can I test the jetpack before we go into it?
Of course, we can have testing beforehand.
I have to evaluate that.
Would you ride a shark like a cowboy?
Hey. You know, I went diving with the whales, blue whales, a shark, it would depend. Great white?
Yeah, have to be.
Yeah. I don't think they'd like that.
Yeah, okay. Would you gain 100 pounds for a role?
Les Grossman.
Yeah, oh yeah, sure. I know I've told you this story before. But at the end of that movie, I said to my, I said, I thought Tom Cruise was in this movie. She's like, "You idiot, he was Les Grossman the whole time." Weed, you know. Would you be a passenger in a plane flown by Harrison Ford?
Yeah, I would. I trust Harrison. I trust.
Would you fly a plane blindfolded?
What?
Fly a plane blindfolded.
You know what? You actually, at a certain point, am I allowed to look at the instruments, or I just can't see them at all?
Well, I don't know what your powers are, but I would say, no, you can't see anything.
No, Jimmy, I wouldn't do
that. Okay. Would you jump off one plane onto another plane that was flying?
Yeah, I'd do that. I'd try that.
You do that?
I'd try that. Depending on the speeds. You'd have to evaluate that.
Would you go back in time to stop the guy who killed Abraham Lincoln?
Yes, I would.
You would?
Yes.
Would you ever run with scissors?
What?
Scissors. You ever run with scissors, you know?
You mean like in my hand?
Yeah.
We've all done that.
Okay, all right. All right, there are no no's.
We've all done those.
It's great to have you here. I look forward to seeing you at the Academy Awards. Top Gun Maverick. Yeah.
You're going to crush the Academy
Well, I hope
Awards,
so.
Jimmy.
I mean, I don't want to disappoint you.
I'm so glad you're doing it.
If it goes poorly, you can fire me out of Academy.
You're going to crush it.
Top Gun Maverick. is in theaters
Come on,
now.
Jimmy.
Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 comes out July 14th
Crush it.
at the movies. We'll be back with Camila Marone.